Hi, everyone. I am that gal. I want to just say, unfortunately, my partner, Roy Miller from Dallas, Texas, was unable to make it tonight. But I am from Milton, Ontario, Canada, and I have a really special guest. I have known LA Nuwame for the longest time. It's been about 20 years now. And I remember when he first started creating games, and uh, we did entrepreneurship programs together. He was one of my guests there. It was just absolutely wonderful having him. And we've continued to stay in touch. So he's going to give us an update as to where he is. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh, great to be here, Laurie. It's great to connect with you again. Yes, we've known each other for a very long time, since the days of Oakville. So it's nice to be here and see your podcast and how things are going. It's been great.
So tell us a
So,
little bit about yourself. Where did you start? I know that I know where you started, but you tell us where you started and how you've come to be where you are and what you're doing now.
oh yeah, so pretty much I am a cardboard craft artist and a comic book publisher as well. I publish other types of books. This goes way back even before we met. As a teenager, I just started making crazy stuff out of cardboard for the fun of it. And then it was in 2008 that I discovered YouTube and I started making YouTube videos on my channel, The Homemade Game Guru. In 2011, I went viral making a cardboard swimming pool that actually held water. Just a crazy idea to do just for the fun of it. Yeah, it was insane. But it was viral before viral was a big thing that it is now. But I just started creating more and more. And then I embraced my love of comic books again by publishing comic books, going to Comic Cons and meeting different artists and different people. And that's what I've been doing thus far, just publishing my own books that I write and get artists to create, making my own cardboard crafts and also selling them on my website, handmadecardboardinnovations.com, and just publishing whatever I feel like publishing. It's just all about being creative and just coming out with whatever I feel like coming out with.
So I have a question for you because I know that a lot of people became very online gaming and so on, but you kept to the tradition of board games as well because it's
Yeah,
a lot more interactive with human beings. So
yeah.
I'm really fascinated by that. And I also wanted to ask you at this point, uh, what are your primary products that you're actually selling out there?
Well, the funny is, when we met all those decades ago, I was heavily into board games, but I actually took a long hiatus from making games because I felt kind of a sob story, but I had a business partner, and we were close to landing a deal with Zellers. If people remember what Zellers was, that big retail chain, and we got played around with, and it fell through, and the business dissolved, and I actually was depressed for quite some time after that. And then Zellers went belly up, and I was kind of happy about that. But it took me away from games, and then that's when I embraced comic books again. Funny enough, when you contacted me, I'm actually doing my first foray back into games again, where I'm making a horror board game. I've been doing such pure and good concepts, like as you're saying, what I'm working on now. This is one of my concepts, Beautiful Canada, where I make 3D collages based on the different provinces and territories of Canada. So each province and territory,
Wow.
I make this by hand, 5 layers deep, showing the different sites of each province and territory. It got me on CBC News, Toronto, and CBC The National, and some other news outlets, and that's great. But I do miss making board games. So I decided, let me make a horror-based board game, because I love horror. I love going to horror conventions. So I have a very dark board game that I'm working on right now, and I'm hoping to have it up by the end of the month, and I'm going to do a Kickstarter for it.
That's fantastic. So actually, funny thing is, I can still remember I had a something that I had to do when I was a child. I think it was in grade 8, and I had
Yeah.
to make a board game. And I always loved Green Ghosts. Do you remember that? You're probably too young to remember that. But I actually created it, but it wasn't as horrible as what they did. I made all these little, fluffy things. I sewed them all up. I actually won the competition for the best board game. But it takes a lot of imagination to actually create something like that. And
Well, we all have it in us. Like I know, I remember Hampy, and I remember your creation as well. Like we all have the creative spark in us. Some of us, like with myself, I'm always inventing all the time. I always have ideas. I have a file cabinet full of them. But of course, you have to be choosy on what you come out with and what you try. So like I've done everything from like children's books. Like here's my book, The Adventures of Clumsy Little Pet LaurieAnn. Put that up on Amazon. I've done my own DIY manuals, like the Cardboard Bible, my best-selling book, based on showing people how to do my unique brand of ostentatious crafts, like, you know, making a cardboard treadmill that actually functions completely out of cardboard. And, you know, I've done so many of these type of things, but, you know, you're only as great as your next idea. You know, what else is going to come out? So, you know, after coming up with Paper, Rock, Scissors, my claim to fame doing Rock, Paper, Scissors as a comic book series as an intergalactic war on their own planet. After doing that, and we're still working on it with my amazing artist, Hugh Rookwood, you know, I'm looking for the next idea to go into. So I know with fall that's coming up, and because I have so much free time, it gives me the time to actually dedicate to the dynamics that makes a board game, because you know you have to not only have the aesthetics of what it looks like, but you have to have how it plays. It has to be logical. You have to balance chance with strategy. So now that I'm just home, when I'm not teaching my daughter and she's driving me insane, I could actually, you know, take the time and actually put my 100% into a board game and hopefully make something that'll really entertain people. Uh-oh, something happened with the audio.
Yeah, sorry about that.
There
I
we
actually had to cut you out for a little bit because I have a couple of dogs here that were getting excited
okay.
listening to you talk, because
I'm flattered.
So mute myself a little bit. So I noticed that you've got your daughter. Is she involved with some of your creativity?
Yeah, on YouTube, she has helped me with some of my YouTube crafts that I've made. The last one I did, which was a giant modular board game, like she was so bored at the beginning of the onset of this COVID-19 and self-isolation that I converted my whole house into a giant board game that we could play it. And I put it up on YouTube. You know, it got enough attention that it got me on CTV News and Habitat.com. Even Reader's Digest featured it in their Father's Day special. So that was cool that this one simple idea to entertain my daughter got that much traction. And I'm hoping to do more with it once things open up some more. I want to have, because people messaged me about doing tournaments and I would love to do it. And so, but yeah, she got involved with that. She helped me paint them. Of course, she played and she somehow won our first tournament, which, you know, made her feel amazing. And she bragged about it for like a week. And she's done, she's helped me with other videos as well. And she's doing her own cardboard crafts, which I don't force her to do. It's cute to see how kids emulate their parents, and she has that creativity in her as well, which I love. She loves to draw, she loves to paint. So that makes me feel happy. And one day we'll let her have her own YouTube channel, one day. Still too young for it. At 8 years old, still a little bit too young.
That is absolutely fantastic. Oh my goodness. It's been just wonderful watching you. I have been watching you all the way through the 20 years that we've known each other, and just that move forward on this, and your passion has been really, I think, a big thing that keeps you going.
Oh yeah, I'm the type of person where, because when I was younger, I went through some depression. I went through a lot of hard times. You know, self-esteem issues, depression issues. My 20s were pretty rough. And creativity was always my outlet. Some people it's writing, some people it's exercise. For me, it was just inventing. That was actually my most prolific time. I wasn't inventing to do anything with the stuff. I just went from idea to idea to idea, just to keep my mind occupied. And it's only now that I'm older, you know, I have my wife supporting me, I got my daughter, I have my family, you know, now I could take those ideas and do something with them. And, you know, but yeah, you have to find your outlet for when you're going through those hard times and those rough times. And for me, it's just making stuff, writing stories, making weird things out of cardboard. Like, for instance, one time, I'm not sure if you saw that video, I was a huge Game of Thrones fan. So for no reason, I just decided my favorite character is Tyrion Lannister. So I made a humongous standee the size of the 2 stories of my house outside in the winter. So this giant cardboard standee of the smallest character, but in the biggest way possible, just on a whim. I just decided to do it on a whim.
That's fantastic. And you're absolutely right. That's actually a really good point to bring up, is that if you do have issues with self-esteem or anxiety or depression, creativity definitely is one of the
Yeah.
most wonderful outlets that you could have to get you to go past that.
Yeah. I wrote a book, my own kind of memoir called The Boy with Zero Self-Esteem. And I put in there, like, I wrote the book so people can relate to a similar situation, because of the many factors that led to my depression and the very dark years I went through in my early to mid 20s, actually stemming back from when I was in high school with family issues and whatnot. And I found, and in the book, I explain how, first the creativity was just to distract myself. It was a distraction, which wasn't as helpful as it sounds, because you're not concentrating on what is bothering you, just trying to find ways to push your mind somewhere else. But then eventually I figured out how to take that creativity and use it to heal myself. So instead of just pumping out idea after, many times I didn't even finish ideas. I just started on something. When I got bored of it, I jumped to the next thing. And that became a pattern where I never really completed anything. And then I finally, with, meditation, with introspection and looking within myself, then I figured, okay, let me make something that uses my creativity, but at the same time, I'm channeling my issues into making something tangible. And that's when I started finishing things. And that's also around the same time where, again, YouTube came up. So now I could share my creations with other creatives and other people who want to make stuff. And then that led to finally, getting around to my point of self-actualization, finding happiness, finding someone to share my life with, and the rest is gold.
I love it. And you're absolutely right, because you were talking about knowing about me and Happy, and this is not about me, but that book was about me. And literally, I did not get it published until 30 years later. And that was, again, like you, I'm kind of like that. Did you ever complete something? And then
Yeah.
I did. I needed to realize that you have to complete something to complete what's inside of you to put it out there. And
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. And I'm so excited. I mean, just watching you grow. And I love this. What is in that picture there? Those cute little people.
Yeah, that's LaurieAnn. So I actually came out the trade paperback, but it's all based on the original book, The Adventures of Clumsy Little Pet Leanne, which I then came out with 2 other children's books called just The Adventures of Pet Leanne. Did some comic strips. My artist, Dan Hammond. So this first one is by George Leon, my decorated Navy veteran brother from Camas, Washington State. And then Dan Hammond, who is an artist from Fergus, he came along. We met at a comic book convention, and we just started working together. And then just recently on Amazon, I put all the children's books, all the comic books, all the artwork together and just compiled them into one book. So that is a sample of and this is also my 3D artwork that I do, just showing some of that off. But yeah, I actually came out with the concept when my daughter was born in 2012, that I just wanted to create some cute, because I like writing darker stuff, but I tried to be versatile, so I made a very cute, lessons deep book about flower sprites protecting their home. And I wanted to, and then when Dan came on, we wanted to do more with it because we're both fathers, we both have daughters, and we thought, okay, this would be a good outlet to put the dark stuff aside and just go out with lighthearted adventures and whatnot. And I like being versatile, just like any writer out there. You just don't write one thing, you write multiple things. So I could write a memoir about my dark times in the past, I could write a children's book, I could write comic books. As long as I'm being creative, that's all that matters to me.
And you're right too, because a lot of actors out there, they don't want to be perceived in one
Yeah,
particular
typecast.
genre,
Yeah.
right? Because then you're closing out your world of creativity.
Exactly.
So where can people find you?
Okay, so my main website is handmadecardboardinnovations.com. So handmadecardboardinnovationsaltogether.com. That shows my cardboard crafts, my comic books, everything is on there. If you want to celebrate beautiful Canada, I know this is Newfoundland, Labrador. I have every province and territory. I got a couple of them behind me. Not sure if you could see them. Every province. And I also, on YouTube, I'm the homemade game guru. And I tell people, if you can't remember homemade game guru, just type in cardboard swimming pool. That's all you have to do. I'm the only one crazy enough to make such a thing twice. So actually, no, 3 times I think I made it. Yeah, I was really bored many summers. So you just type that up and trust me, you'll find me. Those are my 2 main sites.
That's awesome. And then we have this thing when, you know, your daughter was bored and you do a board game in your house. Isn't
Yeah.
it funny? There's 2 different words to board. A board game just gets you excited when you're bored.
Yeah, exactly. What was that, homonyms or yeah, I'm also being her teacher at home too. Homophones, there you go. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I'm learning a lot of things that, you know, helping her with her homework. Like, oh my God, I forgot these terms, and, you know, forgot how to do fractions again. So, you know, there's also all that as well. This is interesting times that we're in right now. So
Definitely, absolutely. And I think that's wonderful you've done. So I thank you so much for being here, Luanga Nuwame. I love that I met you back in 2000 and I think it was 2003 and watched you from pretty well, I think you were a teenager, just coming out of teenagers then.
yeah.
Maybe he was only 5 years old. Like, I don't remember. I'm kidding. But anyway, it's been wonderful. And your journey has been truly something that I've been admiring for the last few years. And I'm just so excited to be able to have you here on the show. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much. And for all your viewers out there, you know, just don't let these times put you down. You know, we all have our talents, and find whatever you enjoy and what brings happiness, and just do it. Just work on it. It's not about making money or doing any of that. It's just centering yourself so you could, at the end of the day, have a smile on your face no matter what else is happening around you.
I love it. And I want to say, I am that gal with that guy, and this is our podcast. And you can find us on That Gal with That Guy on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify, on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, you name it, whatever platform, we're there. So please listen in and please check out my wonderful guests' websites and YouTube. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys. Thank you again, Laurie.
Okay, bye.
Bye.